Welcome to Her Fund Talks, the podcast where we will do a deep dive into the world of gender-conscious investing and women-led innovation. I'm your host, Milena Stojčeva. I'm both an entrepreneur and investor, and in each episode I'll be sitting down with inspiring women, investors and founders to explore how we can create a more inclusive, gender-equal startup and venture ecosystem. Today, we're starting in our first episode a conversation with Anne-Charlotte Joubert. She is an expert in securing EU funding with over a decade of experience in interdisciplinary fields, including research, innovation, environment, and energy. And Anne-Charlotte has dedicated a lot of her time to be an advocate of supporting organizations in pursuit of public funding. So Anne-Charlotte's been also very strong in empowering women in STEM, and this has led for her to serve on a number of boards, including research organizations and boards where women entrepreneurs are being heard and being empowered. Anne-Charlotte, it's great to have you here. So I'm looking forward to an interesting conversation, as you and I have been together also on an inspiring journey for quite some time in the last years. So let me start by a challenge that we want to pose. What are the primary challenges for you that you believe women-led startups face in securing funding nowadays compared to their male counterparts?
Yeah, I think there are a bunch of challenges, but maybe before we dive into it, I want to warmly thank you for organizing this inspiring talk and podcast. And I really hope that this will be meaningful for our community and that we will be able to make a change. So when it comes to your question, I think there's, as I said, there's a bunch of challenges that women are facing. I think we can categorize them in different categories, like biases and stereotypes are probably like the first one that comes to my mind. When women are fundraising, there are often questions on their leaderships and capabilities. And if we look at those women who are especially fundraising in what we call the deep tech industry, this is even worse because here it's not only their leadership that I question, it's also like their technical capabilities and their potential to scale a business and to run a successful business, right? So I think those biases really they are killers for women in their fundraising journey. And the type of questions they are receiving from investors, like they're always on the risk and their capacity to run a business and so on. So this would be maybe one of my first challenge I would consider. The second one is the lack of representation of women in VCs and in the funding world. Basically, there's a trend now where there's more and more women obviously coming into investing. We need more, but not only more, we need also more women who can take the decisions, right? I mean, there's still this glass ceiling also on the investor side. And that is also like a blocker for women entrepreneurs in their fundraising journey. And another one I would see also, it's networks. Obviously, when you fundraise, the importance of having a strong and solid network is crucial, because then that can help you having warm introductions to people who may be interested in investing in your venture or who may know other people, right? So I think these three categories could be main challenges for women. Obviously, we are also living in a world where access to capital is limiting, the geopolitical crisis and all the financial and economic situation. shows today that even investors, they have a hard time fundraising themselves, which means that the access to funding in general is also getting limited. So obviously, when there's even less money available and women are already like under burden for accessing this funding, it also triggers this more difficult path.
I think what you were saying is actually some of the key points that we identified, and maybe this was one of the reasons why we worked so hard to establish this collaboration and network of women who are working together to both energize the investor community but also the founder community. And what you mentioned about the networks, I think it's really critical in creating additional value for those that actually have the courage and dare to start. So I want to ask you a question which is really related to why we set up also the Fund Her project. How do you see Her Fund contributing to bridging the funding gap for women-led startups, especially in the lower level innovation communities and ecosystems?
Well, I mean, we have a strong consortium. I'm not going to go into the details of presenting the project, right? But we have a consortium of 9 partners from 7 European countries, and half of them are located in the so-called less connected innovation territories, which means that the European Commission every year is analyzing the innovation landscape in Europe, and they kind of mark how good or how they are evolving in the innovation ecosystem, and the so-called less connected are basically very roughly the Central, Eastern Europe and Southern Europe. And we have already like 4, if I'm not wrong, we have 4 of our partners coming from those regions. So for us in the Her Fund project, it's very critical that we partner with those countries. And we work together with the so-called best connected innovation territories in order to learn from one another, but also connect and join activities, develop activities together, represent the different ecosystem in both territories, like let's say based and less connected territories. There's so much to learn from one another. And I think this is a very good starting point to tackle these discrepancies in Europe, and it's extremely important both for women but also for our ecosystems.
Yes, and I think you are right, rightly pointing out to the fact that there is this innovation divide across Europe. And our collaboration is going to support exactly that, bridging that innovation divide with the less connected innovation ecosystems. And how do you see actually the overall impact of our Fund Her project on the innovation capacity for Europe?
I mean, we are quite ambitious in this project. Of course, I don't pretend that we have the solutions to everything, but we aim to lower the barriers. We aim to raise the awareness to all the stakeholders in the innovation ecosystem, meaning both the investors and the founders, who are our main target group. But we can't make an impact if we don't also work like with the public authorities at all levels, so at both European level, national level, regional and local level. We need to engage the entire society. I mean, the challenge for women accessing funding or running a business and so on, it's not only like a woman problem, right? It's an entire societal problem. And we won't be able to address it if we don't engage with everyone, men included. And so therefore, I think one of the biggest impacts from Her Fund would be to really manage to engage with all the stakeholders from the entire value chain. We need to address this as a societal problem, not only as access to funding for women. I think this is much bigger than that. It starts by looking into every one of us. I mean, we are parents, we are brothers, sisters, grandmothers, and so on. And that starts from educating our kids, from the way we address our peers, and so on. So this is something that Her Fund is aiming to tackle, to open the dialogue with everyone and lower the barriers. Of
Yes,
course, we're
I
gonna do that in different ways, right? But
yes,
that
yes.
are the
Mhm.
I very much appreciate your approach in sharing that we really need to speak to all layers of society, to the different stakeholders, and very much involve all those who share this philosophy and thinking to become part of our network so that we can scale up later this very same message. And in this regard, let me ask you another question is how can Her Fund collaborate with other organizations and stakeholders to maximize this impact, as we already started talking about that?
Yeah, so we have already started, and already just at the proposal preparation, when we wrote the project, we received support from more than 36 organizations, if I'm not wrong. And the great thing was that support was coming from organizations in the entire value chain, right? We got support from, of course,
Yes.
capital providers and women founders themselves, but also from business acceleration providers, so incubators, accelerators, but also from networks, both at European level and at local level, but also like innovation experts, banks as well. So, I mean, for me in this project, it is absolutely crucial that we engage with everyone and we stop duplicating the efforts. I've had this feeling that over the last 10 years or so, we kept building from scratch. And I think this is absolutely counterproductive. It doesn't really make the impact that it could have if we would join forces, right? So I'm very much open to collaborating with all the initiatives. We have started dialogue also with many of them. We have signed a collaboration agreement with Women Tech EU, who are providing access to grants to early stage deep tech startups. We're in discussion with the other people from the EIT as well, but also from other organization, association, other EU project that we are aiming to collaborate with. Again, with this idea that we got this funding and we have a purpose with that. Most of the other initiatives are supporting or are acting towards similar goals, right? So why don't we join forces? I mean, I really believe in the together we are stronger, and this is basically what I want to apply with this project, and see how we can jointly use all our forces within Europe and beyond to tackle this challenge. So for me, collaboration is crucial.
Yes, I really like how you summed it. It's good to join forces, and I like to say that we now are changing the dynamics, and collaboration needs to go before competition. So this will be a narrative that we will be supporting Europe, I think, in growing its capacity and moving the barriers to innovation. In the maybe last comment, where do you see would be the success factors so that Her Fund becomes a carrier of this mission to close the funding gap for women-led startups and for women-led enterprises to succeed?
Yeah, well, I wish we wouldn't have to talk about it in the future. I mean, this is like, I think all of the organizations or projects that are working towards supporting women, we all aim that we don't have to have this discussion. I mean, the challenges we are facing in our world today are so much more important than having to face like to fight for our rights, right? I mean, we are in 2024 and we are still talking about gender equality, unequal pay, unequal access to funding, and so on. So I'm not naive either. I know that it's a long journey, that it's going to take years, but we need to start acting. And hopefully for our kids in the future and our next generation, we will be able to give them or hand them the key where they won't have to fight for their rights, whether they're women, whatever ethnicity they are representing, wherever they are in the world. We should all have same access to our rights and to express and to fund. I mean, funding is one of the main things. We can't create impactful organization, companies, if we can't get the funding behind, right? And women are shown that when they drive a business, they are much more impactful than men. So we need to also acknowledge that. And these are things that part of the activities also we will do within the Her Fund project will be to showcase, to raise the voices of women, to engage again with investors, with everyone. I mean, we need to address all together how we can tackle this challenge and work towards it. So this is again, I mean, Her Fund won't succeed by itself. We need to work with others to make it successful. And I think our openness and collaborativeness is what also will make us successful.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you so much. It's actually been great to have this conversation with you. I appreciate that we are setting a very good basis for what could happen next and building the innovators club who are going to actually involve others, create opportunities for more, and build slowly this great network to support women founders and women investors. Anne-Charlotte, it's been wonderful to have this conversation with you. Looking forward to spread the word, and we continue in the next episodes with good stories, more challenges, but also more opportunities and best cases. Thank you all for watching this podcast, and looking forward to our next speaker.